It is a holistic approach to well-being for clergy. Years ago in the medical field, there was a realization that illness and health were not only biological or physiological in nature, and that there was other influences at play. And so the biopsychosocial and spiritual model of health was developed. This model considered the body, the psyche or soul, social aspects, and spiritual aspects of a person. Now there's a biblical text that illustrates this concept very well, namely Luke 2:52. And it reads, "And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man." Now I like to unpack that into the 4 areas. Wisdom, well, that points to intellectual development and mental health. Stature points to physical health. Favor with God points to spiritual health. And favor with man points to social health. And over the years, I've been working on a clergy well-being matrix using these 4 aspects of the biblical text in conjunction with the biopsychosocial and spiritual model. And for each of the 4 aspects, there are 3 components. The first one is wisdom. And within that, the components are learning continuously. To always be studying something else. We are to be reading, learning, growing intellectually. Another thing is to stretch your mind. In 2014, I tried an experiment. I decided that that year I would not eat the same meal or travel in the same way as I did. And so I'd take different routes, I would eat different meals. In fact, in that year, I learned that sushi was quite pleasant. And so what I did was I was busy expanding my brain neurons so that they wouldn't get stuck into a certain pattern. You'll have to wait for step number 3 because I'm still working on that. Now we go to stature. The question with stature is, are you sleeping sufficiently? It's very important to have enough rest so that your body can be prepared for the next day's work. If you think of it, the scripture says in Genesis, there was evening and morning and the next day. Often we see sleep as a reward for work instead of preparation for work. So view it differently and sleep sufficiently. Under stature, the next one is exercise regularly. Are you making sure that you get enough exercise? The recommendation is at least half an hour a day, 3 to 4 times a week of brisk walking. Now, it doesn't count jumping to conclusions. That's not exercise. Exercise is getting your body moving. And the third thing in your stature area is eating correctly. Now, what is eating correctly? Exactly what it says. Healthy foods, whole grains, fruit and vegetables. And I must admit, I break the rule because sometimes late at night, I have that Coke and chips. And I encourage you, as with me, not to do that. What about the third step? Favor with God. For you to be healthy clergy, it's important to pray fervently. We grow in that area when we spend time with God. It's amazing to see the texts, how often Jesus spent time with the Father. And we can't neglect it if we are going to grow in favor with God. The second component is studying the Bible diligently. And as clergy, one of the challenges we face is we often are studying the text for a sermon, for a Bible study, for someone else. And so the problem is it goes from the text to the other, instead of from the text into us, and then from our mouths to the other. So it's very important that we digest the word ourselves before we share it with others. A third component in growing with favor with God is journaling regularly. What do I mean by journaling? Write down what you sense God is saying to you. Write down what your response to His is. And you'll be amazed over the years to see how you've grown and what God has done. The fourth area of growth is favor with man. You can grow in these 3 areas, your favor with man. Firstly, honoring family time. When it's family time, it's family time. Then you have to guard that. Your children need to know that you're there. You're not there in only body, but you're there in mind. You are present. The second thing is cultivating deep friendships. It's quite amazing how many pastors say they don't have any close friends. Psychologists tell us that we need at least 2 to 3 deep friendships, close friendships. These are the kind of friends who love you just the way you are, but are not too scared to tell you when you're not doing something great. Cultivate these. And then thirdly, ministering God's love to others. That's how you find favor with man, because you're sharing the love of God broadly and widely. So it would be a worthwhile exercise to take a piece of paper and assess where you are in each of these 4 areas. And after reflection and prayer, to ask the Lord to assist you in identifying which one you need to focus on for the next while. And in that way, just as in Luke 2:52, you can grow in wisdom and stature before God and man.